Welcome to this special show on NDTV Profit. I'm Tamanna Inamdar. The guest on our show today was recently featured on Forbes' 100 Most Powerful Women's list, but that is no surprise because she has been a pioneer in the pharma and biotech space in India. Today, we're not going to be speaking to her necessarily on the details of her company or, where the market cap is going, etc., but on her vision for the Indian pharma sector, for the biotech space, and for the economy. I'm welcoming now to the show Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, the Executive Chairperson, Biocon and Biocon Biologics. Ms. Shaw, thank you so much for speaking with us here at NDTV Profit. We really appreciate it. I know you're doing a sit-down news interview after a long time, and I'm glad that you've given us the time.
No, it's a pleasure, Tamanna.
All right, let's begin. And congratulations on being featured in Forbes' 100 Most Powerful Women's list. Like I said, no surprises there. Let me begin with a broad context-setting sort of question on, your company is a leader in the biotech space. It is a big part of your revenues as well. What is your vision of where India is right now in the biotech space?
So if I look at the biotech space, which is a very large space, which includes biopharmaceuticals, it includes genomics, it includes enzymes, it includes industrial products, it includes a large number of areas. And if you look at that, which we call as the bioeconomy, right now we are sort of heading towards $150 billion in size, which is expected to reach $300 billion in size by 2030 and $500 billion by 2047. So that's to put it into context in terms of the scale of this sector. Now, when it comes to biopharmaceuticals, obviously our company Biocon leads the way. Our biopharmaceutical revenues are in excess of $1 billion. And of course, if you add vaccines and other such biotech products, India's biopharmaceutical component, if you include fermentation-based molecules as well, we do account for about probably close to $20 billion in size. But having said that, I think the opportunity to grow is enormous. India's pharmaceutical sector, which includes biopharma, is already in excess of $50 billion. And I think we have an opportunity to grow this to in excess of $250 billion by 2030. That is the opportunity ahead for us. And I believe that India needs to move up the value curve. If that happens, then obviously the $250 billion, which largely represents generics and biosimilars at this point in time, can quickly double to $500 million with new molecules. That's where innovation counts, that's where value addition counts, and that's where the value opportunity is.
Let me come to the part about moving up the curve. For the longest time, and perhaps it's still true, the idea or the image of the Indian pharma sector is very efficient, very good at providing cheap medicine and access to a large number of people, but not necessarily for new molecules or innovation, for breakthroughs. Is that changing? Or are we just doing what we do best at a larger scale?
So Tamanna, the way I look at it is we have the talent, we have the capabilities, we have the skill base, because many pharmaceutical companies, including ours, are basically developing very innovative and novel molecules. And many of these are now being basically developed in the US or in other regions of the world, because I think regulations in India have not kept pace with innovation. So it takes twice, if not sometimes 3 times as long to develop a novel molecule in India when you compare it to how long it takes to develop this product in the US or Europe for that matter. The reason being that the regulatory path in these other countries is much shorter. The lab to market journey, the lab to clinic journey is much shorter in the US and European regulatory systems rather than in India. In India, we lack the complete understanding of regulatory science, of clinical science. And I think by the time we get permission to even start a clinical trial, we've lost more than a year or two, which then doesn't bode well for innovation in our country. So we need to, come up with regulatory reforms that are benchmarked with those in the West.
Yeah, that's an important point. Another point that I wanted your insight about, and when we cover daily market movement of pharmaceutical companies, a lot of the news flow is about USFDA inspections and what USFDA inspections have found or not found. Now, contextualize that for us. Why has this become the benchmark of quality, and does it continue to be the benchmark of quality?
Well, I think Indian companies have done extremely well in terms of attaining and, maintaining, quality systems. And if you look at the track record that Indian companies have had thus far in terms of USFDA inspections and approvals, it's very impressive. Europe also likewise has had a very good track record of compliance when it comes to Indian companies. It's only in recent times that USFDA has become extremely demanding, and it has basically raised the bar, which then has found Indian companies short of some of their expectations. But I think Indian companies are going to, address these new expectations very rapidly. And I, for one, believe that in the very near future, I think the kind of, FDA inspection reports that we see today will absolutely change for the better. I think Indian companies have basically lost a lot of time during the pandemic. And post-pandemic, I think the expectations have gone up significantly. And I think Indian companies are today in that transition mode of really making sure that they benchmark their quality systems using technology, using data analytics, to really meet some of these new expectations that USFDA and other regulatory agencies have.
Yeah, the growth that we've been seeing in Indian pharmaceutical companies, and I'll come to Biocon in a second, is also based on the growth we're seeing in the US generics market. That's still a huge driver for us as far as the sector is concerned. Do you see that trend continuing over time, or do you also see a point of inflection where branded market or branded or lifestyle or higher end products within India will also see that trajectory?
Well, let me answer this question in two ways. One is, of course, the patent cliff for many molecules keeps falling off every year and every few years, and therefore you're seeing a huge opportunity for generic molecules that endures. So I don't think the growth opportunity is going to slide, because I think the growth opportunity is tremendous. I think every economy in the world is looking for reducing drug pricing and drug costs. So I think generics and now biosimilars are allowing them to basically reduce healthcare costs, especially those related to drugs. Now, when it comes to India, I think India as a country is going to be a very large market for pharmaceutical products because of the fact that more people are coming under the healthcare umbrella, under the Ayushman Bharat, various schemes. And so you're going to see more and more people being able to have access to these important medicines. And I think generic medicines have a very important role to play in driving this growth, both in India, in emerging markets, and of course in the advanced markets where patent cliffs enable growth and generics to enter these markets.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk a bit about Biocon, and one of the reasons that recently, analysts and people who track the stock market prices, I don't know if you do at all. Do you look at what's happening with the Biocon stock, or you don't bother anymore?
I don't really do a day-to-day, watch on my stock, because I think ours is a long-term play. And I just believe that we are on the right path. We've made a huge acquisition which catapults us into the global league. I think we are really focused on integrating this business and really unleashing the growth opportunities that lie ahead. I think as a company, we are leading the way when it comes to biosimilars and biopharmaceuticals from India. We are the only company that has such a deep pipeline of products. I think we are a company that's also very differentiated when it comes to biosimilars because of our insulins portfolio. And I think it's a very, very exciting time for us.
Yeah.
So I think the unlocking of value is already happening. Now that we fully integrated the business, we will see the growth opportunities and the kind of the growth contribution to our business happening very, very soon.
No, absolutely. And I'm going to come to you on Vitus and, why that's a big deal. But the reason I talked about the stock price with Ms. Shaw is, I don't know if you remember this, but I had the opportunity to interview in 2004, the day Biocon listed. And overnight, Kiran Mazumdar Shaw was discovered by everyone as one of the richest women in India. I think the day it listed, that huge pop, Biocon, biotech, and Kiran Mazumdar Shaw were, on everyone's mind. So, which is why I was curious to know if you still, so many years later, look at the stock price. But let me come to Vitus and why it's a big deal. You spoke about it in a bit of detail, but this places you in a different category or shifts the paradigm completely, doesn't it? And what the market is also celebrating is that your acquisition and this entire transition has happened ahead of time. So give us a bit of sense about that.
So I think this was a very exciting opportunity for us. It was an opportunity that had to be, leveraged. And I think that's what we did. I mean, as a company, we were partnered with Viatris for developing biosimilars. We were capturing only a third of the value, whereas Viatris was capturing the rest. And this was an opportunity for us to do 100% value capture and catapult us into the global league. As you know, being a fully integrated biosimilars company gives you a huge advantage to play as in a very significant way in global markets. There are very, very few companies across the globe that can brag about being fully integrated at global scale. And I think that's what really is exciting about this opportunity. I think apart from big pharma, there are very, very few companies that have the scale that we have. And that's why I look at this as a very, very big opportunity for us to further differentiate ourselves as a global leader. And that's the path we are on. And, as I mentioned, we have one of the deepest pipelines, both in the market and under development. That is what we're really focusing on to make sure that we keep this leading edge for a very long time.
You talked about an exciting pipeline. Can you give us any details? And are you by any chance trying to bring the obesity drug to India on a lighter note?
Well, GLP-1s are definitely within our portfolio, but as you know, this business is a small molecule business under the scheme of things. So Biocon is certainly developing the GLP-1s, liraglutide, semaglutide, and of course, we do have these molecules under development, and this is a huge opportunity.
Yeah.
Liraglutide is coming off patent very soon, but the real opportunity is semaglutide, which will come off patent a few years later. But everyone's eyeing that spot. Not everybody has the capabilities of developing these products, but Biocon certainly has. So it is a very exciting opportunity for us. Peptides have been a very strong capability for us because of proteins and the kind of insulins that we've developed over the years. So I think we have a very, very deep understanding of the complexity of developing peptide-based drugs.
Yeah. No, so the reason I also asked that is because, of course, insulin is a big part of your portfolio. Diabetes is growing at a, I think, scary pace in India. And trying to control weight through this medication is something which perhaps is not top of mind right now in the Indian context, but will be soon. Is it safe to say that Kiran Mazumdar Shaw today believes that if there is a race for the weight loss drug in India, Biocon is at the front of it?
Well, certainly Biocon is in that particular space, and we certainly want to again be leaders in this particular segment. So I would say that yes, this is a very important space. Diabetes, as you very rightly said, is a global pandemic, not just in India. And of course, many of these early stage products like GLP-1s for treating type 2 diabetes and especially obesity related diabetes is a marvelous drug. So I think this is going to be there for the foreseeable future. Of course, being such a huge, it's considered to be over $100 billion opportunity at this point in time, and it's only going to increase. So when you look at these kind of large market opportunities, obviously, every company that can actually develop such drugs is going to be there. I mean, today, just to put it into context, I think Novo Nordisk, which is really leading the way when it comes to GLP-1s, has a market cap which is almost equivalent to the size of the Danish economy. That's how important these products are.
Yeah, I said that's huge. Just a quick word from you, ma'am, on the deal with Sandos, where you're distributing and marketing, and I hope I'm saying this correctly, adalimumab. I don't know if I'm saying it correctly. Please explain to us why this autoimmune disease treating drug is important and why this is a big deal.
No, basically, I think we have regional partnerships in many of these products. And, we have struck this regional partnership in Japan with Sandos. And of course, a leading molecule in that market is adalimumab, which, we have decided to partner with Sandos because Sandos has a very strong marketing presence in Japan, which we believe we can leverage. So I think that's the opportunity. And we do look at regional partnerships in many markets to provide that access to those markets and to provide us with partnerships that are very significant and strong in those markets.
Yeah. All right. We're going to continue this conversation, but I'm going to take a very short break. And the reason why I love speaking with Kiran Mazumdar Shaw is because she speaks not only on the pharma sector, on her company, but where the Indian economy is leading and what growth opportunities we're seeing from here, what industry is thinking and saying as well. I'll come back with that leg of the conversation after this break. All right, we're back in conversation with Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. Let's come to the big picture. Now, 2024, we are in a space where India is feeling on top of the world, so to speak. All the indicators are good, bright spot in the globe. Our GDP growth estimates have been bumped up. Is the picture that hunky-dory in your view? Or are there concerns of things like rural growth, of a more uneven growth persisting on the horizon?
You know, at a macro level, Tamanna, I think India is in the strongest position that you have ever seen before. And I believe from, the point of view of the way we are strategizing on growth, it is a very, CapEx-driven growth, which I think is extremely important for the future. For the first time, the government is surplus when it comes to cash, of investing in CapEx, of investing in infrastructure. As you know, today we are investing 3.3% of our GDP in infrastructure, which is a very important area to invest in if we want to catch up with what China has been doing over the years. I think GST has been a huge contributor to this ability for the government to invest in CapEx and in infrastructure. I think, what is also very important in terms of our economy, which at the moment is about $3.5 trillion, and we are very quickly heading towards a $5 trillion, $10 trillion, and much more. And the reason it is possible is because we have, through the digital payment gateways and direct cash benefits, we have actually brought a large part of the informal economy into the formal economy. And the moment you bring in the informal economy into the formal economy, you start building creditworthiness for people, and that makes them bankable, and that allows their businesses to scale up. That's how you're developing the Indian market, and that's how this market is going to be a very attractive market for others to invest in. And you can see the kind of FDI we have in India, the kind of capital market we have in India. I think all these are signals of how strong our economy is.
But yet, ma'am, private sector is not investing. Private capex continues to be an issue.
Yeah, but I'm not really concerned about that, because today we need logistics and our whole infrastructure to be strengthened if we are to really compete globally in a very effective way. Today, the moment you have a very strong road network, I think the economy automatically benefits. And if you think about the way we are building our ports and our various other logistics, that is going to make us very globally competitive when it comes to exports as well. So I think we're doing the right thing. The government is investing in the right areas. And I think that is what is required before private sector is going to increase its investment in CapEx. Right now, I think capacity utilization is what is required when it comes to the private sector and Indian industry. And I think the moment the markets offer that demand, I think you will see that capacity utilization will quickly be at the brim, and they will have to then invest in CapEx to increase and expand their manufacturing and other kind of requirements. So today, if you look at it, India is definitely benefiting from its its software industry, from its services sector. We are gradually moving away from the agrarian economy that we were so dependent on towards the both services and manufacturing sectors. And for all this to happen in an efficient way, I think we need better infrastructure. And that's why now, for the first time, the government has the fiscal capability to invest in infrastructure. And that's what makes me very optimistic and hopeful that we will get to that $10 trillion economy and beyond.
And the 2047 developed nation mark, you think that's on track as well, doable?
Well, I think, we have to aspire for that. We have to, have that as a goal. Now, even if we are off by a few years, it doesn't matter. But I think if we can make everything happen the way we anticipate, then why not?
Yeah, why not? Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw there speaking on a range of issues, but interestingly, definitely where the biotech space, the pharma sector and the Indian economy are headed. Thank you once again.